Welcome to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. Hey, I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Tuesday, February 2nd, 2021, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing well today. Well, it's been a very, very busy day. We have a lot to talk about. I've posted a number of articles on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network. And I posted an article from rollingout.com dealing with Snoop Dogg, okay? Hip hop artist, actor, pitch man, Snoop Dogg. And he in this interview that he did, he talks about why he quit rapping about death and violence. Why he quit rapping about death and violence. And it happened after he was acquitted of murder charges. Okay, so we're going to talk about that, and this deals with negative corporate controlled hip hop. This deals with the power of the media and the messages in the music, a number of different things that you've heard me talk about before. So we'll talk about that story. And then I was reading Black Enterprise. I was on Black Enterprise's website, and they have a really good story about a technology program in prisons. Okay. It's a prison program that teaches inmates how to code, a prison program that teaches inmates how to code, teaches them computer coding so they can get a job in technology fields once they are released from prison. And the story originally came from Denver Channel 7, ABC News affiliate in Denver, Colorado. And it actually came out like February 2020, but blackenterprise.com picked up the article because I read the original article as well. So we're going to talk about that also. It's a very good program, it appears. And one of the things they said in the story is that 90% of prisoners are going to be released from prison. Okay. So you want to have programs in place to rehabilitate them and teach them skills, teach them viable skills so they can gain employment when they leave prison. Okay. And this also reduces recidivism. Okay. This also reduces recidivism, which is ex-offenders returning to prison. All right. And I've worked with returning citizens in the past. So, this is something very important. All right. So we'll talk about that story. And then we see that House Democrats filed their brief today in the Senate impeachment trial of former President Donald Trump. The House impeachment managers filed their memorandum today for the Senate impeachment trial of Donald Trump, laying out in the clearest terms yet why they believe Trump committed impeachable offenses and must be barred from running for federal office again. Okay. And in their impeachment brief, they said that it's unmistakable that Trump was responsible for the Capitol riot. Trump's lawyers say that the coming trial is now, and we know that Trump's lawyers are saying that the impeachment trial is unconstitutional and that his remarks at a rally before the Capitol riot were protected by freedom of speech, which doesn't make sense because you can't incite violence. They know that. That's the best they can do. You can't incite violence. They know that. Okay. But we'll discuss that as well. Then yesterday, we didn't get a chance to deal with birthday acknowledgments, birthday shout outs. February 1st was the birth date of the super freak himself, Rick James, right? The super freak himself, Rick James. So we'll talk a little bit about Rick James. We may talk about the Mary Jane girls. I met one of the Mary Jane girls back in 2010. Very interesting story there. It's a PG story. It was rated G, actually. It's nothing crazy, but it's just an interesting story, because I liked the Mary Jane girls when I was younger, so I got to meet one of them. All right. I'm still waiting to meet Apollonia Cotero, right? From Apollonia 6. Okay. If somebody knows Apollonia, give her a call, let her know I want to meet her. Okay. But I met Candy from the Mary Jane girls back about 2010. And then also it was the birth date of Sherman Hemsley. Sherman Hemsley, better known as George Jefferson from the Jeffersons. Okay, we know Sherman Hemsley passed away a few years ago also. But it was Sherman Hemsley's birth date also, February 1st. Okay, so we'll talk some about Sherman Hemsley. We know this is African American History Month. This year's annual theme for African American History Month, we talked about it on our Sunday night show, and we talked about it some yesterday. This year's annual theme for African American History Month is the Black family representation, identity, and diversity. The Black family representation, identity, and diversity. There was an article from New York Amsterdam News from January 28th. I talked about it a little bit on yesterday's show. Didn't get a chance to get into it. We'll try to squeeze that in today also. All right, now people have been asking about my online course. How's everybody doing? Everybody watching on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and my YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, Imhotep. People have been asking about my online course, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. So it was going to start up Wednesday, February 3rd, but we're going to push that back to next Monday. Okay, so we'll have it start because I'm still working on it on top of everything else I'm doing. So it's going to start Monday, February 8th, same time, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Email me at AHNshow@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AHNshow@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Okay, for more information, and we'll let you know how you can register for it. And also at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, you can register for it there as well. It has the information from the last time I ran the show, but the previous course is archived. So when you register, you can start watching the previous course. You'll automatically be registered for this new one. So it is a 8-week, 16-hour online course that I teach. We deal with thousands of years of history, and we do what led up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. So it'll be Mondays, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, starting Monday, February 8th. And I do a PowerPoint presentation. We have video clips. I have an online school, so we teach it there. I do a PowerPoint presentation. We have video clips, book references, articles. It was about 50 different articles that I referenced. So and we take you throughout history. And we deal with the 800-year occupation of Europe by the Africans known as the Moors. We deal with the ancient African presence in the Americas of African people going back at least 56,000 years, even before Native Americans came into existence. And we deal with what led to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. All right. So email us at AHNshow@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AHNshow@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com for more information. I'll post a link here also to the online course as well. So this one here has when I did the course in, I think it was 2019, and you can watch it, and then it'll automatically enroll you in the new course offering also. So it's regularly $130. It's on sale $80. You can watch from around the world. We do the class live, and it's recorded, so you can go back and watch it over and over again. And we have a live chat in the class also, so you can ask questions as well. Okay. All right. Now on the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's correct wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. So when you control the radius of a man's thoughts, you can control the circumference of his or her actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. Now, we deal with a number of different topics. Here on the African History Network show, we deal with current events in history, politics, education, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, love, sex, health issues, and much, much more. Sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, K-E-M-E-T, to 22828. Sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, K-E-M-E-T, to 22828 to sign up for our email newsletter. Also, visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can sign up for our email newsletter there as well, at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. All right. Calling numbers 313-778-7600, 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. We're coming up here on a break in a few minutes here. Let's jump into this first story here. This is dealing with Snoop Dogg, okay? Hip hop artist. And you know, I talked about Snoop Dogg. It was a couple months ago when he came out and he talked about Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion in their song WAP. And he was talking about it from the perspective of a man about to turn 50 years old, and how that's not a good message for them to send out. Okay. I talked about that on our show, and I'm going to re-air that clip at some point soon and put that together with the panel discussion I did with the sisters dealing with the song WAP. But if we look at this article here from rollingout.com, rollingout.com is a good article from February 2nd, 2021. Snoop Dogg explains why he quit rapping about death and violence. Snoop Dogg explains why he quit rapping about death and violence. And he said that despite the fact that his career and brand name have survived the ravages of time, like few others ever in the rap industry, Snoop Dogg no longer subscribes to the violent lyrical content. Lyrical content that characterized his meteoric rise and popularity in the early 1990s. The Long Beach, California rapper born Calvin Cordozar Brodus Jr. had a life-changing epiphany when his bodyguard fatally shot a man they both thought was about to kill them in Los Angeles. So I remember when this happened, and he went on trial, and he was acquitted of the charges. Okay, but the violent episode resulted in Snoop Dogg and the bodyguard catching murder charges. Once Snoop and the bodyguard were exonerated of murder, Snoop decided to immediately retire from writing about murder, death, and violence. Okay. He said, on my second album, called The Dog Father, when I beat my murder case, I redirected my pen to write life because I felt like I had wrote death all up until that point. He said this. He told this to legendary DJ Fat Man Scoop on an Instagram Live interview. We're going to continue this on the other side of the break. Listen to the African History Network show right here on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation of Future Radio. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes.
For 25 years, the Black History 101 Mobile Museum has carried on the rich legacy of the Black Museum movement in America by showcasing original artifacts of the Black experience at colleges, universities, K-12 schools, corporations, libraries, conferences, and cultural events, making it the most traversed Black History mobile exhibit in American history. Dr. Khalid El-Hakim is the founder of the Black History 101 Mobile Museum, and he is a highly sought-after public speaker on topics of Black history, social studies, education, museum studies, pop, and race relations. Dr. Khalid was named among the change makers for NBC Universal's Erase the Hate campaign and listed as one of the 100 men of distinction for Black enterprise. He recently founded the Michigan Hip Hop Archive on the campus of Western Michigan University. The Black History 101 Mobile Museum is currently scheduling in-person and virtual exhibits nationwide. For more information, please contact Dr. Khalid El-Hakim directly at 313-645-4197, 313-645-4197, or visit their website at blackhistorymobilemuseum.com. That's blackhistorymobilemuseum.com. You can also email him at bhistory101@yahoo.com, bhistory101@yahoo.com. Visit 4glossygirls.com. That's the number 4glossygirls.com, and follow them on Instagram at 4glossygirls.
Are you getting ready for fall or winter? We have the solution for all seasonal clothing needs. Comedicwear.com is the go-to online source for comedic African fashion and lifestyle products with a contemporary twist. We're committed to offering unique styles reflecting our African heritage. Comedicwear.com is inspired by comedicscribes.com to influence our people in learning and showing pride. Please visit our website at comedicwear.com.
Black Bees products are a collection of natural, organic, personal care products with an appreciation of nature and bees. Our philosophy is without bees, we have nothing. We are honoring our Nile Valley ancestors who understood the importance of bees. Black Bees created a high-quality, natural, organic personal care line that would be affordable to everyone. We hope you try and enjoy our Black Bees products line and come back and visit us at blackbeesproducts.com.
Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation of Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Tuesday, February 2nd, 2021, and we are live. Calling numbers 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. Okay, so right before the break, we were talking about this interview that Snoop Dogg did, and this deals with a change in his career and why he stopped rapping about death and violence. So this is from rollingout.com. From February 2nd, 2021. We posted this article earlier today, and a lot of people have been commenting on it. Also, we're broadcasting on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and on our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, Imhotep. So those watching on our social media platforms, please share the broadcast. We're also broadcasting on 910 AM Superstation, WFDF, and their Facebook page, 910 AM Superstation on Facebook as well. Calling numbers 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a quick question or comment. Okay, so let's go back to this article here, and I'm pulling up also the one from rollingout.com when he talked about the song WAP as well. He got some backlash for that, but he was on point. He was correct, and we talked about that here on the show. Okay, so Snoop Dogg in an interview with Fat Man Scoop, legendary DJ Fat Man Scoop on Instagram Live, said, on my second album, The Godfather, when I beat my murder case, and we'll turn on the screen share also for this as well, those watching in TV land. You can, we'll turn on the screen share as well so you can see this. Let's see here. Flip that over. All right. For some reason, computer's running a little slowly tonight. I just did an update because this is a new laptop, so it just did a computer update about 20 minutes before we came on the air. So he said on my second album, The Godfather, when I beat my murder case, I redirected my pen to write life because I felt like I had wrote death until that point. He said, when I started writing The Dogfather, I lost fans. When I started writing Dogfather, I lost fans. I lost a lot of homies because they wanted me to keep it gangster after beating the murder case. Okay, nothing like beating the murder case to make you realize this ain't, this really could have gone the wrong direction. I really need to change some things here. Ain't nothing like beating the murder case, looking at possibly life in prison or close to it. I forgot what the charge was, but it's nothing like dealing with 25 years life in prison to make you really rethink some things. Okay, this example of is that phrase when keeping the real goes wrong, keeping the real goes too far, you going too far with the bit. Okay, habitual line stepper or something like that. You with murder charges, and you realize how close you were to going to prison. You realize, you know what? I need to make some changes here. I need to put out a gospel album. I need to make some changes. I know the gospel album came years later, but still, you still did a gospel album, So he said they want me to glamorize and glorify, but I was like, somebody's life was lost. My life was changed. This is a real situation, Snoop said. I have actual remorse. I feel bad. But he said they want, so, and I don't think it's just his homies that want him to glorify death and things like this. I think it's record executives that want him to glorify death also. So he talks about how he lost fans, how he lost homies because they wanted me to keep it gangster after beating the murder case. They wanted me to glamorize and glorify. Okay. But I was like, somebody's life was lost. Now, the murder charge was the second and most dire warning to eschew the topics of violence and murder in music, two main ingredients of 90s West Coast gangster rap. And I lived through the 90s gangster rap and Tupac and Biggie and them being killed and all this East Coast, West Coast beef, all this nonsense, and white people making money off of it as well, or white people making money off of this beef. Now flip, so we have these statements from Snoop, and then the article goes on to talk about a changing epiphany was when, let me see, just 1 second here. Okay. So he talks about one day, me and my cousin, Daz Dillinger. Okay, and I remember hip hop artist Daz Dillinger also. He said one day, me and my cousin Daz Dillinger were going to the studio, and I had a song in my head called Dave. He said this to Fat Man Scoop. Okay, DAVE, death after visualizing eternity. DAVE, death after visualizing eternity. Let me see, which one is it here? Okay, so he says, so I wanted to write a song about someone that died and came back. Okay, I wanted to write a song about someone who died and came back. At the time, I was gang banging and all kind of stuff, sugar, honey, iced tea. Okay, so my pen made me write Murder Was the Case. Okay, I remember that song also. Murder Was the Case they gave me, which was the story of a gangbanger that got shot and on his deathbed made a deal to get his life back. But he crossed God and he ended up losing at the end. Okay. Ironically, not long after Snoop began writing on his sophomore album, the two towering pillars of rap, Tupac Shakur and Christopher Notorious B.I.G. Wallace, Notorious B.I.G. Chris Wallace, were gunned down within 6 months of each other. Both icons frequently rapped about dying and violence. Furthermore, Biggie Smalls, Notorious B.I.G., only 2 albums were eerily titled Ready to Die and Life After Death. Not long after Tupac and Biggie were murdered, Dr. Dre made his tumultuous break from Death Row Records, and Snoop also hit the exit ramp, signing with Master P's No Limit label, and Snoop never looked back. Watch the No Limit Chronicles on BET. Watch the No Limit Chronicles, because in the No Limit Chronicles, number one, it deals with how Master P built this empire, No Limit Records, okay, and which was phenomenal. He's a really, really good businessman, Master P. He has a lot of creativity, and he built an empire, but then he signed Snoop Dogg to No Limit Records, brought Snoop Dogg from Death Row Records to No Limit, which really saved Snoop also, and it helped rejuvenate his career and allowed him to go in a different direction, put him in a better environment as well. But they talk about that. It's a 5-part series called dealing with No Limit Records on BET. Okay, 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. We'll go to the phone lines in just a minute. But this is I think a very important story, because here you have one of the top hip hop artists, and I mean, he ain't been in Snoop has longevity. I remember when Snoop Dogg was on the soundtrack for Ricochet, starring Denzel Washington. Okay, what was that? 1990, 91. Okay, so I remember when he first came out. So for him to really talk about this and this transformation and how this really impacted him is, I think, really, really important. Then back December 13th, 2020, there was the article from rollingout.com. Snoop Dogg criticizes WAP song, Offset and angry fans fire back. Check out this article as well. And I agree with this criticism. You know how I felt about the song. And, you know, some people, I don't want people to misunderstand. It's not like I don't like women, anything like that. You know, nobody loves a WAP more than I do. But at the same time, we have to be cognizant of the images that we allow to be projected of us. So I don't want people to be confused on that. You know, some people that know me know how I feel about that, but I just want to be clear. Okay. So read this article also from rollingout.com. Snoop Dogg criticizes WAP song, Offset and angry fans fire back. And then this is the one I was talking about last night when we dealt with the 9-year-old African-American girl who was pepper sprayed in Rochester, New York. Okay. And I talked about adultification bias. And I talked about how all of this is connected. Adultification bias deals with mapping onto African-American girls the stereotypes that have been projected of African-American women, and how African-American girls are oftentimes perceived as being older, knowing more about sex. They are perceived as needing less protection and perceived as being less innocent than white girls. There was a study from the Georgetown School of Poverty, and they did a study called Girlhood Interrupted. There's an article from NBCnews.com that deals with this. The adultification, and you got to bear with me. I'm still setting this new laptop up. I still have to transfer I got thousands of bookmarks in Firefox. I still have to transfer them over to Google Chrome. And then there's still files I'm trying to transfer over from my external hard drives and the old laptop over to the new laptop. So just bear with me here. But the adultification of Black girls, less protection, more discipline. Less protection, more discipline. Okay. So if you missed our show from Monday, February 1st, and I have to look at the calendar because all my days are running together. If you missed our show from Monday, February 1st, we talked about the African-American girl who was pepper sprayed. She was having mental issues and threatening to kill herself and kill her mother, things like this. But when I did the panel discussion dealing with WAP with 3 African-American women, herb alchemists, who, we should ask, she's a conscious hip hop artist and an herbalist, Jade Arendelle, who's a social activist and anti-racism expert, and also another conscious hip hop artist named Hecka Mecca. And one of the things I dealt with was adultification bias. Okay. So if we look at this article here, this is from NBCnews.com. There are a number of different articles that dealt with adultification bias. There was one from the root.com as well. There were 2 studies that talked about this, one in 2017 and one in 2019. But if we look at this one here, this article here from NBC News, the adultification of Black girls, less protection, more discipline. The adultification of Black girls, less protection, more discipline. Adults think Black girls are less innocent, less in need of protection and nurturing, and seem older than similarly aged white girls, according to a new report. So this article here is from June 28th, 2017. All right. And the name of the report is called Girlhood Interrupted, the Erasure of Black Girls' Childhood. Girlhood Interrupted, the Erasure of Black Girls' Childhood. And in this study, it also said American adults think Black girls know more about adult topics and about sex than white girls of the same age. Now, I cannot stress this enough. People jumped on me when I criticized WAP. No, I've been studying media for damn near 30 years. I'm not just a historian. I also study media. Okay. My degree is in business administration with a major in marketing. The foundation of marketing is psychology. I've been studying media for almost 30 years. When you look at this study, okay, and you tie this into the dehumanization of African-American girls and African-American women and the hypersexualization of African-American women and African-American girls, we can trace a lot of these conceptions and stereotypes back to slavery and the commodification of the sexuality of African-American women and them being raped and African-American girls being made to breed. When you check out this study here called Girlhood Interrupted, the Erasure of Black Girls' Childhood. In the study, one of the things it said is that American adults think Black girls know more about adult topics and about sex than white girls of the same age. And they're also looked at as being less innocent than white girls. They're also perceived to seem older than similarly aged white girls. So when you go look at the case from Rochester, New York, and the police officer tells the 9-year-old African-American child, "You're acting like a child," she responds, "I am a child." So if we continue here, and those perceptions are greater when it comes to younger Black girls ages 5 through 9 and 10 through 14. The discrepancy continues to a lesser degree with girls ages 15 to 19. This new evidence of what we call the adultification of Black girls may help explain why Black girls in America are disciplined much more often and more severely than white girls, across our schools and in our juvenile justice system, said Rebecca Epstein, lead author of the report and executive director of the Center on Poverty and Inequality at the Georgetown University Law Center. Okay, read this article. There are other articles about it. The Root.com has one. There was a study that came out in 2017 that this article talks about. There was a follow-up study in 2019 dealing with adultification bias. Okay, you tie this into, and this is what I did. You tie this into Cardi B and WAP and Megan Thee Stallion. And I said before, I'm not attacking them. I'm not blaming them. We need to look at the white man who financed this, because it was put out by Atlantic Records, financed by Atlantic Records, marketed by Atlantic Records. That's a white-owned corporation. And I said that you would never find a top white female artist like a Taylor Swift or any of them, a Katy Perry or anything like this, putting out sexually explicit lyrics like that are marketed, have a music video behind them, have real marketing behind them. They're not going to do that. The record companies are not going to allow them to do that. Why? Because you only protect what you respect. And they have more respect for their own women than they do for ours. You're not going to have them with a song that has a bass line that says there's some whores in this house. Okay? Repeated over and over and over again. You only protect what you respect. You compare, you put this together. Racism is a system of advantage and privilege distributed based upon a race that comes out of the ideology of European white supremacy. You connect this with adultification bias. You connect that with the abduction of African-American girls and women, about 64,000 African-American girls and women missing. It's all connected. If we go and we look at, R. Kelly and Surviving R. Kelly. You watch that documentary. Chance the Rapper is in that documentary. I like Chance the Rapper. Chance the Rapper said, and there was an article, I think, from BET.com that talked about his interview for the documentary series. Chance the Rapper said, maybe I did not believe the women because they were black women. Maybe I did not believe the women because they were black women. When you go look at the original court case on the child pornography charges against R. Kelly from years ago, and they interviewed a lot of the jurors were talking about how they didn't believe the women and how some of them didn't like the women and how some of the women were dressed and different things like this. So all of this is connected. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to line one. We have Judith on line one. Judith, hey, thanks for holding. Tell us where you're calling from. Welcome to the African History Network show. Do we have Judith on line one? We have anybody on line one? Whoever we have, let's just go to Shakita. Okay. You call back in, Judith. Sorry about that. And then, as I talked about yesterday, see, that's why there was a petition going around, and you had a lot of white people signing the petition trying to get Kylie Jenner digitally removed from the video WAP. They did not think Kylie Jenner belonged in that video. The reason why was, like I said, you only protect what you respect. They thought too highly of Kylie Jenner for her to be in that video. You let those Negroes do that. That's for them. You don't need to be in that video. We need to rescue you. We need to rescue you digitally out of that video, out of that horror show. Once again, I'm not attacking Cardi B or Megan Thee Stallion. They're being used. But I know the executives at Atlantic Records know better. The reason why I know better is because they would never let a white woman do that. They would never let a top white female artist do that. That's because they know better. All right, let's go to the next story here. So check out these articles here. Snoop Dogg explains why he quit rapping about death and violence. And I've seen an evolution of Snoop Dogg over the years. I've seen the evolution in him, so that's good. Now I don't know if he does, maybe he does. I hope he mentors younger hip hop artists so they don't make the same mistakes and put all this garbage out here and violence and things like this. Okay, because we're the ones they're experimenting on with the music. See, it's one thing for you to go through something and you evolve, but you don't have access to millions of people, and you can't disseminate messages that influence the way people think, feel, act, and ultimately behave. You can't tell me that they don't have an influence of the way people think, feel, act, and behave. Otherwise, they wouldn't have multi-million-dollar endorsement deals for Doritos and soft drinks and fast food and clothing lines. So you can't tell me, my degree's in marketing, you can't tell me that they don't influence the way people think, feel, act, and behave, and you have product placement taking place right in the music videos for Ciroc vodka, for Hennessy, for all types of clothing and things like this. The psychologists and the marketers understand this, that a lot of people don't understand how they're being manipulated. I understand it. I know it when I see it. I mean, I understand it. This is why I've been studying media for 30 years. Okay, so I hope he's mentoring, and he may be, I don't know, but I hope he's mentoring younger artists so they don't make the same mistakes. Male and hopefully female artists also. Okay, next story. So I saw this. We're going to go to this clip here from Denver Channel 7, Shakita. I saw this article from blackenterprise.com, and this from February 2nd, 2021. We posted this on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network. And this article deals with a program at a prison, San Quentin Prison. The program is based in San Quentin Prison. And what it does is it teaches prisoners coding so they can get jobs in technical fields when they leave prison, and also cuts down on recidivism, which is extremely, extremely important. Okay. I've worked with returning citizens in the past. Most of them don't want to go back to prison. But in addition to them needing a second chance, sometimes a third chance, but in addition to that, they need viable skills. They need viable skills so they can gain employment, okay, and have some type of career. So Black Enterprise has this article, program teaches prisoners how to code so they can get tech jobs once released. Now, the name of the program is called The Last Mile. The Last Mile, not to be confused with the Green Mile. That's Michael Clark Duncan. Okay, but it's called The Last Mile, and it's a prison rehabilitation program based in San Quentin, Florida. It offers prisoners free training on how to code, how to write computer code, how to code, so they can write computer programs, things like this. Now, this equips them with the training they need to get a job more easily once they are out of prison. Now, Jason Jones is a software engineer who teaches computer coding to prisoners through remote communication. He told Denver Channel 7 News, quote, "At the last mile, we are using technology to try and solve mass incarceration. At the last mile, we are using technology to try to solve mass incarceration." Now, those who finish the program, once released from prison, will be connected with tech companies such as Slack, Facebook, and even Google. Jason Jones himself was a product of the program. He belongs to the almost 100 graduates who had a zero recidivism rate, which is fantastic, compared to the 83% recidivism rate in the whole country. All right, so I'm going to go to this clip here, but check out this article here from blackenterprise.com. Program teaches prisoners how to code, and we're going to bring it up here. Program teaches prisoners how to code so they can get a tech job once released. Let's go to that clip from Denver Channel 7, Shakita.
More than 2 million people in America. According to the Department of Justice, 650,000 will get out this year. It's expected that 80% of them will reoffend and be back. But does the recidivism rate and the number of people in prison in this country have to be that high?
When you want to make a change, at the last mile, we're using technology to try to solve the problem of mass incarceration.
The Last Mile is a program that has software engineers like Jason Jones
that will help you so much more
remote into prison and teach convicts computer coding. Once they learn the skill and are released, former convicts and now coders are connected with tech companies like Slack, Google, and even Facebook.
You're talking about disrupting the status quo of people not normally getting access and opportunity.
The Last Mile program is defying the country's 83% recidivism rate. In its 10 years existence, there have been zero recidivism amongst its nearly 100 graduates.
ASX is just an extension of JavaScript.
Graduates that include Jason Jones.
Not only are we driving down the recidivism rate where people get out and don't come back no more, but we also have the ability to go back into communities and stop people from coming to prison in the first place.
What the Last Mile has shown is that change is possible.
Beverly Parenti and her husband, Chris Redledge, founded the Last Mile program at one prison in California, and now it's in several across 5 states.
We're trying to create a platform that we can take across the country that will sort of level up expectation from people inside.
In total, about 500 offenders are going through the program now, and while their lives are potentially being changed, the financial burden to society is also being relieved.
We know for sure that there are better uses of our funds than spending on prison.
Generally, many people inside really want to do better. They want a second chance. They want the opportunity. So create that opportunity for them to be successful, because 90% of the people that are incarcerated are going to get out. So the question is, who do you want them to be?
I'll see you next Thursday.
For The Race, I'm Alicia Nieves.
All right, pause it right there, Shakita. Thank you. Okay, so check out this article from blackenterprise.com. Once again, now this sounds like a really, really good program that is producing results also. These are the types of programs that have to be duplicated and replicated across the country. These are the types of programs, okay? Because 90%, in some stats I've seen say 95% of people in prison are going to get out. Now, what are they going to do when they get out of prison? So The Last Mile, founded by Chris Redledge and his wife Beverly Parenti, was launched. Since then, hundreds of incarcerated people have been taking on the program, benefiting from their potential life transformation. More than that, the Last Mile intends to relieve the financial burden spent on prison. The estimated cost, the financial burden spent on the prison. Okay, the financial burden that the prison encounters in facilitating this program. The estimated cost to house a prisoner in California is about $75,000 a year, but it only costs about $5,000 for a prisoner to go through the program. Okay, and let me see something here. Only costs about $5,000 for a prisoner to go through the program. And okay, just a second here. This is running slowly for some reason. At first, the budget for the program came from Redless and Parenti themselves. Now they have support from corporate partnerships and state funding. Okay, so when you have a program like this, and there are others, this is not the only one, of course, but when you have a program like this that can reduce recidivism and give them viable skills, then that's something that should be supported. And that's something that many taxpayers would say, hey, this makes sense to support. Okay, so at first, the budget for the program came from Redless and Parenti only. Now they have gained support from corporate partnerships and state funding. The program, which started in one prison in California, has now expanded to 5 states, and their reach continues to grow. All right. Okay, so check out this article here from blackenterprise.com. Also, program teaches prisoners how to code so they can get tech jobs once released. All right, look, we're out of time here on the 10 a.m. Superstation WFDF. Be sure to email me, AHNshow@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AHNshow@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com to find out online course that I'm teaching. It's going to start up Monday, February 8th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then also we're going to post a link here again. You can register for the class. This is the old course that I taught is archived. And when you register for the old one, we will enroll you into the new one as well. Those watching on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, keep watching. We're going to keep broadcasting for a little while longer. Remember, right now it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. Stay tuned for Pastor Greg Davis, and we'll talk to you tomorrow night. Peace. Okay, I want to go to this next story, and we're going to post the information from our online course once again here. Let me find that. So everybody share this broadcast on your social media platforms. Invite your friends to tune in also. Follow us on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP. All right, so this next story I want to go to, do some birthday acknowledgments because I didn't get a chance to do it yesterday. We talked about Sarah Rector yesterday. Rich's African-American girl in 1913, and her parents were former slaves to Creek Indians. So check out the show from February 1st. Kicking off African American History Month also. I want to go to this. We'll do some birthday acknowledgments, and then we'll get to the Trump impeachment. The Trump impeachment managers, the House impeachment managers filed their memorandum for the Senate trial starting up the week of February 8th. So that's going to start up next week. So we didn't get a chance to do birthday acknowledgments yesterday. February 1st was the birthday of Sherman Hemsley, Rick James and Sherman Hemsley. Okay. Now, many people remember Sherman Hemsley as George Jefferson, right? From the Jeffersons. And then also Deacon Fry on the TV show Amen. So Sherman Hemsley portrays George Jefferson on the CBS television series, first on All in the Family, and then on the Jeffersons. He also portrayed Deacon Ernest Fry on the NBC series Amen, and B.P. Richfield on the ABC series Dinosaurs, the cartoon. Okay, he did the voice of the character. For his work on the Jeffersons, Sherman Hemsley was nominated for a Golden Globe Award and an Emmy Award. He won an NAACP Image Award also. That was some information from the National R&B Music Society. So he was born February 1st, 1938. February 1st, 1938. He died July 24th, 2012. Okay, Sherman Hemsley. And let me see, can we pull this up here? Let's see if we can pull this up, because everything's running slowly for some reason. Okay, so you had Sherman Hemsley born February 8th. February 1st, 1938. I'm going to pull this up. And I had the okay, I'm going to pull this up from National R&B Music Society, Inc. And then also it was the birthday of Rick James as well. So we'll talk some about Rick James also. Let me see if I can pull this up here. While that's coming up, now, the February 1st was also the anniversary of the death of Donald Cortez Cornelius, born September 27th, 1936, and he died February 1st, 2012. And he took us on the hippest trip in America. He was the creator of Soul Train. And I remember watching Soul Train in the 1970s. And, so, Soul Train was cool. And then you had the commercials for Soul Train. Also, you had the commercials that aired during Soul Train. You had the one guy, he had I think it was an afro that he had. It wasn't Jerry Curls. I think it was an afro. And his afro was messed up, and he was looking in the mirror, and Frederick Douglass was looking back, and I'm talking to him, telling him what he needs to do to fix his afro or something like that, the products he needs or something like that, right? So you had all these type of commercials, Afro Sheen and things, it was an empire that Don Cornelius built up. And I watched some of the TV show dealing with Soul Train, American Soul on BET. I've watched some of that. I know a lot of it is fictitious, but I think there's some truths in there also. Okay, so we have.
Do you have an idea or business that requires app development or thinking of moving your IT resources to the cloud? We have post-paid and profit-sharing plans for unique ideas or profitable businesses. Who can take advantage of this unique program? Entrepreneurs with unique ideas, startups, small to medium businesses. Contact us 267-209-0352.
Visit nomadicsystems.net, nomadicsystems.net today. Intuitive Design Clothing is an online accessory store that sells one-of-a-kind signature statement pieces for men and women. They also specialize in fashion consultations, closet organization, and decorating small spaces. Are you looking for a statement piece for a special affair, or would you like to add some select pieces to your ensemble of accessories? If you're looking for something different, definitely contact Kathy Norman, owner and CEO of Intuitive Design Clothing. Visit their website, intuitivedesignclothing.com. That's intuitivedesignclothing.com, and you can email her at info@intuitivedesignclothing.com. Intuitive Design Clothing is where every entrance is a grand entrance.
Are you getting ready for fall or winter? We have the solution for all seasonal clothing needs. Comedicwear.com is the go-to online source for comedic African fashion and lifestyle products with a contemporary twist. We're We're committed to offering unique styles reflecting our African heritage. Comedicwear.com is inspired by comedicscribes.com to influence our people in learning and showing pride. Please visit our website at comedicwear.com.
Soul Natural Beauty Products offers organic, plant-based skin and hair care products that will rejuvenate skin and naturally grow and thicken hair. Their whipped shea butter can heal or restore damaged skin cells to prevent hyperpigmentation and skin breakouts. All products are made with organic plant-based ingredients. Their maximum hair growth oil is fortified with organic herbal extracts and undeniably proves that Mother Nature knows best. It thickens, lengthens, softens, and conditions all types of hair. They even guarantee hair improvement within 90 days or a full refund. Their all-natural 24-hour deodorant leaves the body smelling fresh without sweating for up to 24 hours. It does not stain fabric, goes on smoothly, and has a refreshing lavender and frankincense aroma. It can be used by men, women, and even children. Place your order today at soulnaturalbeautyproducts.com. That's soulnaturalbeautyproducts.com, and follow them on Facebook at Soul Natural Beauty Products.
Sherman Hemsley, and let's turn the screen share on. And just bear with me because the computer's running slowly. I think it's because of the software update I just had to do. This is a new laptop, and I just did a software update about 20 minutes before we came on the air. I had to reboot the computer. All right, Nateri, how you doing, Nateri? Okay, so Sherman Hemsley, right? George Jefferson. Now, there was also from Soul TV, they had information about Sherman Hemsley as well. And I want to pull that up. Just bear with me. I'm pulling that up on my phone. So I did not get a chance to print it out. Yeah, here we go. They have more information. So yeah, as I said, he was born February 1st, 1938. Died July 24th, 2012. Now, he was known for his roles as George Jefferson and Deacon Ernest Fry. Hemsley also played Judge Carlson Robertson on the NBC series The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I remember him on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Okay. And he was kind of like an adversary of Uncle Phil. For his work on the Jeffersons, Sherman Hemsley was nominated for a Golden Globe Award and an Emmy Award. He also won an NAACP Image Award. Now, in his early years, Sherman Hemsley joined the United States Air Force, where he served for 4 years. On leaving the Air Force, he returned to Philadelphia, where he worked for the United States Postal Service during the day while attending the Academy of Dramatic Arts at night. He then moved to New York, continuing to work for the post office during the day while working as an actor at night. He starred as Gitlow, Gitlow, Gitlow in the early 1970s Broadway musical Pearlie. While Sherman Hemsley was on Broadway with Pearlie, Norman Lear called him in 1971 to play the recurring role of George Jefferson in his new sitcom called All in the Family. And All in the Family was groundbreaking television. I mean, we may look at it today and you say, oh, it's, they're talking about this, they're talking about the war, they're talking about, LGBTQ and things like that. They didn't even call it LGBTQ then, they just called it gay. They're talking about this. But back then, because All in the Family, that debuted, I think it was like 1969. It's late 60s, then goes to early 70s in the 80s. So back at that time, oh my God, this is groundbreaking TV. This is shocking. Okay. So Sherman Hemsley joined the cast 2 years later. The characters of Sherman Hemsley and co-star Isabel Sanford were supporting occasional roles on All in the Family, but were given their own spinoff show, The Jeffersons. They moved on up to a deluxe apartment in the sky. Okay. Theme song written by Janae Dubois, who was Walona Woods on Good Times. So The Jeffersons, so this was 2 years after Hemsley made his debut on the sitcom. The Jeffersons proved to be one of Norman Lear's most successful series, enjoying a run of 11 seasons through 1985. Now, the problem was the Jeffersons were not given a finale show. The Jeffersons were not given a finale show, which is the height of disrespect. They were on for 11 seasons, and they just ended abruptly. And actually, on TV One Unsung, okay, on TV One Unsung Hollywood on TV One, they do an unsung on the Jeffersons. I still have it recorded, and they talk about when the show was canceled, and it said the cast: Sherman Hemsley, Isabel Sanford, Marla Gibbs, Florence Johnston. They learned that the show was canceled by reading about it in the newspaper. They learned that the show was canceled by reading about it in the newspaper. Okay, the show was on for 11 years and was not given a half-hour finale show. This is how they treated African Americans then, and somewhat now. It's a little better now, but especially back then, this is how they treated them. The same thing happened with the TV show Girlfriends. If I remember correctly, Girlfriends was on 8 seasons, and they did not get a season. They did not get a series finale or anything like that. They just canceled the show. It was a number of our shows they did this like. They did that too. The show. The show All of Us with Lisa Ray and Dwayne. He was married to Tisha Campbell Martin. Dwayne Martin. Okay. That show did not get a series finale. The show Half and Half with Essence Atkins and Thelma Hopkins. Okay. That show, that did not get that was on 4 or 5 seasons, something like that. That did not get a series finale. They have there's a habit of just cutting off our shows just like that. No series finale. Just cut them off and then say next. It's gotten a little better now, but it still exists now. So the Jeffersons were on for 11 seasons and no series finale. Now, also, it was the birth date of February 1st was also the birth date of Garrett Morris. Okay. Garrett Morris. And Garrett Morris was on the first season of Saturday Night Live. Okay, he's part of that original cast. He's part of that original cast. He was also in the movie Cooley High. Remember him in Cooley High? He was a teacher. Remember the teacher smoking weed in the remember the teacher smoking weed in the bathroom in Cooley High, right? And let's see, let's pull this up here. Soul TV has a good write-up on Garrett Morris. So we posted about this also. So happy birthday to Garrett Morris. We didn't get a chance to get to the birthday acknowledgments yesterday. So Just bear with me, okay? I know. Just bear with me here. I want to pull this up. So he was born February 1st, 1937. He's a comedian, actor, and singer. He was part of the original cast of Saturday Night Live, appearing from 1975 to 1980. And you know, on 10 p.m. on NBC, they show each Saturday they show some of those old episodes of Saturday Night Live. There was, in the first season, Richard Pryor hosted an episode of Saturday Night Live, okay? And it's classic. Go watch it, okay? It's not classic because he used the N-word on the show, which he did, okay? That's wrong. It's not classic because of that. But just him being there, just performing is classic. But the musical guest was Gil Scott-Heron. Okay. I mean, you go back and watch that show. You have Richard Pryor and Gil Scott-Heron. Gil Scott-Heron was just a musical genius. I mean, you listen to songs like "We Almost Lost Detroit." Okay. And the song is not about gentrification. It could be about gentrification, right? It's about like a nuclear disaster. We almost lost Detroit. But you write he has songs like we almost lost Detroit, The Bottle, and you know, his classic, which was not his most successful commercial song. The Bottle was his most successful commercial song. But he's known for The Revolution Will Not Be Televised, okay? Which was you know, it's very popular, but his most successful commercial song was The Bottle, okay? All right. Let's turn. Okay, so Garrett Morris. So Garrett Morris was born February 1st, 1937. And we also know him as Uncle Junior on the Jamie Foxx show. Not like you know, the Jamie Foxx show. Jamie was kind of silly. He got more mature as the seasons went on. I like Fancy on the show, right? Garcelle Beauvais. I mean, who wouldn't like Fancy, you know? Well, I guess if you don't like black women, you wouldn't like Fancy, but that's another show. So he's also known as Uncle Junior on the sitcom The Jamie Foxx Show, which aired from 1996 to 2001. Garrett Morris had a starring role as Earl Washington on the CBS sitcom Two Broke Girls from 2011 to 2017. He was also known for his role in the sitcom Martin as the sitcom Martin starring Martin Lawrence as Stan Winters from 1992 to 1995. And as Mr. Mason in the classic movie Cooley High. Yep, yeah, he was on the TV show Martin, and he was in Cooley High. He was a teacher in Cooley High also, and that's a classic movie. And the TV show, What's Happening, was inspired by the movie Cooley High. Okay, because in the movie Cooley High, Glenn Thurman, and he just celebrated his birthday a few days ago. He played the role of Preach, and Preach wanted to be a writer. Okay, and then in What's Happening, Roger Thomas wants to be a writer also. When you research What's Happening, it's loosely based. It's inspired by Cooley High. If we look at, let me see, and Eric Monti was one of the forces behind Cooley High. He was one of the forces behind What's Happening. And then also, I'm looking up Eric Monti here on Wikipedia. Cooley High also inspired the CBS television show The White Shadow. But Eric Monti is I mean, he was the co-creator of Good Times, Eric Monty and Mike Evans. That's why you see their names in the credits. Let me see here. And then let's see, Eric. Let me look at his IMDb. Let me look at his biography, because Kenneth Williams, most popularly known by his stage name Eric Monty, was born and raised in the economically impoverished Cabrini Green housing project in Chicago. Okay, Eric Monty was befriended by a fellow actor named Mike Evans in 1971. Mike Evans, who got a new role on Norman Lear's sitcom. Let me pull this up here. Y'all need to see this. Let's turn off the screen share, because see, this is where Hollywood meets history. Okay, this is all tied into history. Let's look at Eric Monty. This is why these shows, I can't do these shows in 1 hour. That's why I need to I need to cut these shows back because I end up staying up too late. Let's pull this up here. Eric Monty and Cooley High. Let's look at his biography at IMDb. All right. Let's blow this up here. There's a lot of history when you study the TV show Good Times, and you study Eric Monty and Mike Evans and Norman Lear and the Jeffersons, all this stuff. I mean, there's so much history here. All right. And you could probably change this. Wayans brothers. Now, what about the Wayans brothers? Let me type this caption. Okay, let's look at this here. Let's turn on the screen share. So do you all like it when I show you these articles and all this stuff and show you what I'm talking about? Okay, so Kenneth Williams, most popularly known by his stage name, Eric Monty, was born in the economically impoverished Cabrini Green project in Chicago. And see, that's why that's where Good Times is set as well, in the Cabrini Green projects also. Now, Eric Monty was befriended by a fellow actor named Mike Evans in 1971. Mike Evans, who got a new role on Norman Lear's sitcom All in the Family, was impressed by Eric Monty and asked Eric Monty to help expand his role on All in the Family. Eric Monty wrote a script, submitted to Norman Lear. Lear was impressed and hired Eric Monty as a writer on the show. Eric Monty pitched an idea to Norman Lear of an entrepreneurial African-American Black man named George Jefferson to be added to All in the Family. Subsequently, the characters George and Louise Jefferson premiered on Norman Lear's show All in the Family. George Jefferson was an African-American who owned a chain of dry cleaning stores, 7 locations, one near you, right? It doesn't say that. I just know that from the Jeffersons. And lived next door to the bigoted Archie Bunker. In 1974, Eric Monty collaborated with Mike Evans and created the show Good Times, where Norman Lear acted as executive producer. Good Times tackled social issues such as income inequality, drugs, gang violence, discrimination, and genuinely gave an outlook into the struggles African Americans faced. Norman Lear, however, consistently insisted that the father be written out of the show and asserted that a strong black man in the sitcom won't work. This is true because I've researched it. This is what Norman Lear said. Okay. And see, Eric Monty was against that. Eric Monty, let me just say this quickly. Eric Monty was against that. He wanted the father on the show. Okay. Esther Roll, when you read Don Bogle's book, and we're gonna wrap up this segment because I don't want this to be too long. When you read this book here, Blacks in American Television, Blacks in American Films and Television, an illustrated encyclopedia by Donald Bogle. Donald Bogle breaks this down. Okay. Good Times was a spinoff of All in the Family. Good Times was a spinoff of Maud. B. Arthur Maud, and then there's Maud, that uncompromising, enterprising, everything but tranquilizing, right on Maud, right? So B. Arthur is Maud. So Maud was a cousin to Edith Bunker on All in the Family. Maud is a spinoff of All in the Family. Maud had a maid named Florida Evans. Florida Evans had a husband, James Evans, on the show Maud. Now, they had two different people who played James Evans. One was John Amos, and another was another guy. I don't remember his name. But on the show Maud, James Evans was a fireman. He was a firefighter. When they decided to spin off Good Times and give Florida Evans her own show, because she was the star of the show, they did not want her, the executives did not want Florida Evans to have a husband. They wanted her to be a single mother. Esther Roll stood her ground and demanded that Florida Evans have a husband, because she had a husband on Maud when she was a maid. Now you're spinning the show off and she's going to have her own show. Now you don't want her to have a husband. You want her to be a single mother. What kind of game are you running? But Florida Evans, Esther Roll, and I met Esther Roll some years ago. She was a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. Those are our sisters. I'm a member of Phi Beta Sigma Sorority Incorporated, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. And we were, it was a state conference, and it had to be, I can't remember if it was a Zeta State Conference or a Sigma State Conference. I can't remember, but she was there. It may have been Phi Beta Sigma State Conference for the state of Michigan, but she was there signing autographs, Esther Roll. So I got to see her for a minute and interact with her. But she was a very smart, very dignified woman. So when Eric Monty talks about how Norman Lear was against the father being on the show, he's correct. Okay. They did not want James Evans on the show. They did not want John Amos or any black man, not just John Amos, but they did not want Florida Evans to have a husband. Norman Lear, however, consistently insisted that the father be written out of the show and asserted that a strong black man in the sitcom won't work. He said a strong black man in the sitcom was not funny. But Archie Bunker was funny. Archie Bunker was a strong white man. He was dumb, but he was a strong white man. In 1976, against the wishes of Eric Monty, Norman Lear fired John Amos, who played the strong black father on the show, after John Amos voiced strong objections to the lack of direction of the show. In 1974, Eric Monty quit Norman Lear's production company after he received a contract to write Cooley High, a movie chronicling the antics of African-American teenagers living in the Chicago projects. A year after, so Eric Monty, he writes the screenplay for Cooley High. Okay, he writes. So that's Eric Monty. A year after Eric Monty's resignation, Norman Lear came out with a show called The Jeffersons, a spinoff of All in the Family, which starred the characters George and Louise Jefferson, in their own sitcom. Even though it was Eric Monti who created the characters, George and Louise Jefferson, Norman Lear took the credit and billed himself as a creator of the show. The show ran for 11 seasons and was regarded as the most successful African-American sitcom in history. Okay. I'm not sure it's the most successful. I'm not sure if it's most successful. Maybe the most successful at that time. I'm not sure if it was more successful than The Cosby Show. The Jeffersons paved the way for shows like The Cosby Show, which also chronicled the adventures of an upper middle class African-American family. With the success of the 1975 movie Cooley High, a sitcom adaptation then followed in 1976 called What's Happening. What's Happening became the first African-American teen sitcom to break into the Nielsen ratings. All right. So read more about Eric Monti here. Check this out. This is bio at imdb.com. Now, I've heard that some people dispute some aspects of his bio, things like this. Saying so when it comes to I think some of the dispute comes when it comes to taking credit for maybe the creation of the show Jeffersons or something like that. It may be a little gray area somewhat, but he did do a lot of this. Okay, it's the reason why I said that because I talked to his former business manager years ago when I was the first interview I did with Bernadette Stannis, who's Thelma Evans from Good Times. I did a lot of research on the show Good Times, which then took me to research Eric Monti, and I came across the phone number of his former business manager. I called her and talked to her. I forgot her name. I got to go to this. That was probably 10 years ago. Well, 7 years ago, something. So I talked to her. She gave me some background information, things like that. So that's why I say this. Some of that stuff take with a grain of salt. But Eric Monti did a lot. Eric Monti, can't take that away from me. Eric Monti did a lot. All right. And one of the things Eric Monti wanted to do was he wanted to write scripts and movies and TV shows that were non-stereotypical, that were empowering for African Americans, that showed us in a positive light. Okay, that's something that he wanted to do. Let me see something here. Okay, so we have that also, and then Garrett Morris. How's everybody doing? All right, hey, if you like this type of information, also, you can donate to the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show, paypal.me/the AHN Show. This helps us to stay on the air 6 days a week, keep doing the research, keep broadcasting, pay some of the bills, etc. Okay. And at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, click on the yellow donate button as well. All right. Okay. Now, February 1st was also the birth date of the number one super freak himself, legendary Rick James. Okay. So, and I remember when the song Super Freak came out back in, like, it was 1980, something like that. Oh my God. I mean, back then, we'd be shocked compared to the stuff that's out now, Super Freak was tame, compared to the stuff that's out now. Oh my God. But, hey. All right, so he was born February 1st, 1948. And he passed away. Remember when he passed away? August 6, 2004. Okay. And let me post this here. All right, Rick James. And I mean, there were a lot of people, who were musically influenced by Rick James. So, remembering Rick James, born February 1st, 1948, singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, and producer. Okay. After forming, and I want to pull this up here also on Rick James. After forming the Stone City Band. Now, he was born James Ambrose Johnson Jr. That's his birth name. James Ambrose Johnson Jr., professionally known as Rick James, okay, also known as the original Super Freak, right? So after forming the Stone City Band in his hometown of Buffalo, New York, in 1977, Rick James finally found success as a recording artist after signing with Motown's Gordy Records, releasing the album Come Get It in April 1978, where the hits You and I and Mary Jane were released. Okay, You and I remember all those songs. I remember Mary Jane Girls. I remember the song Mary Jane. I remember You and I remember Tina Marie. And Tina Marie has some, Tina Marie was bad. That girl could sing. She could play the guitar. You swear she had some black in her. And being that she was with Rick James, one way or another, she had some black in her. But that's a whole nother story. Ebony Eyes, Fire and Desire, all those, right? But but anyway. So let's continue here. All right. So he finally found success as a recording artist after signing with Motown's Gordy Records, releasing the album Come Get It. And in April 1978, where the hits You and I and Mary Jane were released, helping the album go platinum and selling over 2 million records. This was followed with 3 more successful album releases. Rick James released his most successful album, Street Songs, in 1981. And on one of them, the National R&B Music Society, they showed the cover like Street Songs, and he has on these red like thigh-high boots. I forgot about that. So, and Rick James talked about how, because Rick James comes out in 1977, and Rick James talked about how something to the effect of how he influenced Prince, or something like that. But yeah, I forgot about Rick James and the thigh-high boots. But I remember all these albums. I remember Bustin' Out, or Bustin' Loose, and then Street Songs, all of this. I remember the Stone City Band. So this was followed with 3 more successful album releases. Rick James released his most successful album, Street Songs, in 1981, which included career-defining hits such as Give It to Me, Baby. I remember that, Give It to Me. And Super Freak. All right. Who could forget Super Freak? And Hammer is going to sample Super Freak with You Can't Touch This. So the latter song, Super Freak, becoming his most crossover single, mixing elements of funk, disco, rock, and new wave. And how many of y'all remember Solid Gold? Y'all remember the TV show Solid Gold with Marilyn McCoo? This is from like the 70s and 80s, right? Solid Gold. And I think they had Rick James performing on there. I know they would have like the Solid Gold dancers and they're performing different songs. I think Rick James was on there. I remember on Solid Gold, Prince performed one time. He performed Little Red Corvette, and they showed that about 150 million times, that performance of Prince doing Little Red Corvette. But you had Marilyn McCoo, and I think Dionne Warwick was on. I think she was a co-host or something like that on Solid Gold for a while. But I remember Marilyn McCoo. Okay, this is a whole like another generation because you all remember Marilyn McCoo and Billy Davis and the Fifth Dimensions. Okay, Dionne Warwick and but Solid Gold is something you don't hear about, nowadays. It's like how many of you all remember Solid Gold? Okay, yeah, she was on Solid Gold also. I'm looking this up here because yeah, she was a host on Solid Gold for a period of time, Dionne Warwick. All right, let's continue. Okay, so Super Freak was his biggest crossover single, mixing elements of funk, disco, rock, and new wave. Rick James was also known for his soulful ballads such as Fire and Desire and Ebony Eyes. I'm not sure how many babies were conceived listening to Rick James music, right? In addition, Rick James also had a successful career as a songwriter and producer for other artists, including Tina Marie, the Mary Jane Girls, the Temptations, Eddie Murphy, and Smokey Robinson. Okay, now, how many of y'all remember Eddie Murphy? My Girl Wants to Party All the Time. Because Rick James is in the video. I think Rick James is in that video. But I remember reading in Black Beat magazine and Black Beat magazine and Right On magazine. Okay, this from like the 80s. All right, y'all remember Black Beat and Right On, and they used to have Michael Jackson on the cover. But I remember reading in Black Beat and Right On magazine that Eddie Murphy was going to come out with an album, and I remember seeing them in the studio with Rick James. And he comes out with My Girl Wants to Party All the Time. Go watch that. It's probably on YouTube. It's a hilarious song. But then he came out with a song after that. Okay, so My Girl Wants to Party All the Time was a pretty big hit for Eddie Murphy. All right. And Eddie Murphy still does music. He plays guitar. He performs like reggae music. His follow-up song to My Girl Wants to Party All the Time, it was called Put Your Mouth on Me. Okay. Go research that one also. But I remember seeing I remember seeing the videos for that. Okay. And let me see, what year was that? My Girl Wants to Party All the Time. Because I'm trying to remember, did they show that on Saturday? I think they showed some of those on Friday night videos. Okay. Let me see, what year was that? My Girl Wants to Party All the Time. Because Friday night video showed all those videos on NBC. It came on 11:30 p.m. and it went off 1 a.m. Saturday morning. Friday night videos on NBC. And all those videos they showed. So Friday night, so in the 80s, Friday night, you had Miami Vice at 10 p.m. Then your local news came on. Then 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time was Friday night video. So each week they had a different host. It was one of the stars of one of the shows on NBC that hosted it. They have some episodes of Friday night videos on YouTube. I'm going to watch them. One week you had Malcolm Jamal Warner and Tempest Bledsoe who hosted. They were on the Cosby Show. Another week you had Alf. Remember Alf? Alien Life Form. Remember Alf, the TV show Alf from the 80s? One week he hosted. So each week you had a different star or co-star of an NBC show that hosted Friday night videos. And let me see. Okay, I want to see what year was My Girl Wants to Party All the Time. Because I can't remember if they showed that on Friday night videos or not. 1985. Yeah, they showed that on Friday night videos. They showed that, and his follow-up song was Put Your Mouth on Me. That was another one. Okay, so they showed all that stuff. Yeah, this is how Holly said, this is how I saw videos. Because I ain't had cable. We ain't had cable back then. We saw videos on Friday night videos. And then also there was a video show that came on 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. Like when you got out of school, there was a video show. It was local in Detroit. They showed videos. That's so I got to see Duran Duran, Rio and Hungry Like the Wolf and things like this. But Friday Night Videos was the show. Okay. Let's continue. But that stuff's on YouTube. You can go watch it. All right. Okay, let's continue here. Okay, so Rick James also wrote for Smokey Robinson as well. So Rick James was a prolific songwriter. Okay, he didn't just play musical instruments. He didn't just sing and perform. He was a songwriter as well. Now, the Mary Jane Girls, they had songs like In My House, and they were a trio. It was four of them. Yeah, it's four of them, Mary Jane Girls. I met Candy of the Mary Jane Girls back in, I was working at Sprint retail corporate store, and she came in and she needed, I think, upgrade her phone or something. So we're working on it for her, and she starts showing us pictures. She starts talking about Rick James and being in the studio with Rick James, something like that. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, yeah, I knew entertainers. I used to work at radio even before working at Sprint. So I met celebrities, things like this. So I'm like, okay. And then so she starts showing pictures of her in the studio with Rick James from the 80s. And I'm looking at her today, and I'm looking at the pictures. I'm like, that's her. She, she looks younger. She still looked good then, but she was younger. I'm like, that's her. And she told me, she said she was with the Mary Jane Girls, right? And she was doing backup singing then, back in like 2010. She was doing backup singing, what have you. So then we started talking, about Rick James and all this stuff. So, yeah. So she still looked good then. Anyway, so let's move on. All right. So Rick James' mainstream success had peaked by the release of his album Glow in 1985 and his appearance on the popular TV show The A-Team. How many people remember Rick James on The A-Team with Mr. T? I Pity the Fool. Okay. Rick James' subsequent releases failed to sell as well as their predecessors. Rapper MC Hammer sampled Rick James' Super Freak for his 1990 hit You Can't Touch This, which was one of the most successful hip-hop songs of all time. You Can't Touch This. And Rick James became the 1991 recipient of a Best R&B Song Grammy for composing the song for composing the song. Okay, so rest in peace, Rick James, who was born February 1st, 1948. Passed away August 6, 2004. And I remember when he came back, I remember when he went into rehab and came back and started recording again. And this was like the 80s or something like that. But it was a video, and it was a music video. And at the beginning of the music video, he takes a bottle of alcohol and throws it at the wall or something, and it breaks. And it was because he was battling alcoholism, things like this, drug addiction, what have you. So happy birthday to Rick James, born February 1st, 1948, passed away August 6, 2004. All right. And then, okay, we got Garrett Morris, Sherman Hemsley, and Rick James.
With blackbusinesstee.com, the messages are clear and meaningful. Keep your business in the black and out of the red. Mind your black business, know your numbers, and plan strategically. Black Business Boss, lead your industry. Support black business, encourage, patronize, and uplift one another. blackbusinesstee.com currently has products sold in Detroit, Atlanta, Chicago, and Los Angeles, with proceeds returned to the black community. They have a wide selection of hoodies, t-shirts, mugs, hats, sweatshirts that support black-owned businesses. Visit the website blackbusinesstee.com. That's blackbusinesstee.com. For 25 years, the Black History 101 Mobile Museum has carried on the rich legacy of the Black Museum movement in America by showcasing original artifacts of the Black experience at colleges, universities, K-12 schools, corporations, libraries, conferences, and cultural events, making it the most traversed Black History mobile exhibit in American history. Dr. Khalid El-Hakim is the founder of the Black History 101 Mobile Museum, and he is a highly sought-after public speaker on topics of Black history, social studies, education, museum studies, hip-hop, and race relations. Dr. Khalid was named among the change makers for NBC Universal's Erase the Hate campaign and listed as one of the 100 men of distinction for Black enterprise. He recently founded the Michigan Hip Hop Archive on the campus of Western Michigan University. The Black History 101 Mobile Museum is currently scheduling in-person and virtual exhibits nationwide. For more information, please contact Dr. Khalid El-Hakim directly at 313-645-4197, 313-645-4197, or visit our website at blackhistorymobilemuseum.com. That's blackhistorymobilemuseum.com. You can also email him at bhistory101@yahoo.com, bhistory101@yahoo.com.
Lastly, let's look at the impeachment trial of Donald Trump. Okay, there's a and how's everybody doing on YouTube and on Facebook as well? Everybody share this broadcasting on social media platforms. All right, NBC News, Washington Post also has an article dealing with this. Trump's responsibility for Capitol Riot unmistakable, House Democrats say in impeachment brief. And let's look at this here. I'm going to try to pull up these clips. Just bear with me here. And, you know, so last week, I think it was last week, we talked about the birth date of Zara Cully. Zara Cully was Mother Jefferson on the Jeffersons. If you missed that, go back and watch one of those episodes last week. Zara Cully died in 1978, Mother Jefferson. She was born in 1892. Zara Cully, Mother Jefferson on the Jeffersons, was born 3 years before Frederick Douglass died. Frederick Douglass, the former slave abolitionist. So Frederick Douglass died in 1895. She was born 3 years before Frederick Douglass died. She was born 27 years after the Civil War and slavery ended. So the Jeffersons is a historic show for a number of reasons. But let's look at this last story here. So House impeachment managers filed the memorandum on Tuesday for the Senate impeachment trial, the second Senate impeachment trial for the worst president in the history of the United States, Donald John Trump, laying out in the clearest terms yet why they believe Trump committed impeachable offenses and must be barred from running for office ever again. And if they take that second vote and bar him from running for office again, he will lose his $1 million presidential office budget. He would lose like the travel expenses that he gets, all these things. He would lose the $200,000 pension that he gets as being a former president. So personally, he should lose all that. Okay, he doesn't. When you try to incite an insurrection to overthrow the government, you shouldn't get any more government funding. Personally, I think he should lose the Secret Service detail, but that's just me. He should have to pay for it himself. You're a billionaire, you pay for that yourself. Okay, let's see here. Let's go back to this article here. All right, so in the brief released Tuesday morning, the managers led by Representative Jamie Raskin, Democrat of Maryland, who is a former constitutional law professor. He's an expert on the U.S. Constitution. In the brief released Tuesday morning, the managers argue that Trump was personally responsible for the riot at the Capitol on January 6th. They argue that Trump was personally responsible for the riot at the Capitol on January 6th. They say that when Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election failed, he incited the attack. Okay, which is true. When his actions to overturn the election results of the 2020 election, because they didn't go the way he wanted them to go, he incited the attack. Quote, President Trump's responsibility for the events on January 6th is unmistakable. They write in the 80-page document, stating that, quote, his abuse of office threatened and injured our democratic order. His, quote, abuse of office threatened and injured our democratic order. His conduct, and let's pull this up here. All right, let's turn on the screen share. We've got the article up now. His conduct endangered the life of every single member of Congress, jeopardized the peaceful transition of power and line of succession, and compromised our national security, the brief says. This is precisely the sort of unconstitutional offense that warrants disqualification from office. Okay? This is precisely the sort of constitutional offense that warrants disqualification from office. So they said this in their 80-page document. Check out the article from NBC News. Trump's responsibility for Capitol Riot unmistakable. House Democrats say in impeachment brief. Trump's lawyers say that the coming trial is unconstitutional, in that his remarks at a rally before the Capitol riot were protected by free speech. Yeah, but you can't incite violence. One, two, you're dealing with dereliction of duty, because as it was playing out on TV, as the insurrection was playing out on TV, Trump didn't do anything to stop it. It took 2 hours for him to put out a tweet to try to intervene, and people were pleading with him to do something to stop it. But he was sitting there enjoying it. Let's continue. So the Senate must establish beyond doubt that Trump's behavior was intolerable, it says. The managers rebut the claims made by Trump's lawyers and allies that the Senate has no jurisdiction because Trump is now a former official. Quote, that argument is wrong. It is also dangerous. They write saying it is unthinkable that the framers of the Constitution would have, quote, left us virtually defenseless against a president's treachery in his final days, allowing him to misuse power, violate his oath, and incite insurrection against Congress and our electoral institutions simply because he is a lame duck. Nothing in the Constitution says only current officials can be tried, they argue. The Constitution gives the Senate the power, quote, to try all impeachments, end quote, they note, emphasizing the word all. Now, I want to go to this clip here. This is from MSNBC. This is from Tuesday, February 2nd. 2021. This is from Hallie Jackson on MSNBC, dealing with this breaking news of the filing of the of the memo from the House managers. House managers have filed their brief ahead of the Senate trial for President Trump. They assert that he bears unmistakable responsibility for his role in inciting the Capitol Riot, and argue the proceedings are entirely constitutional. Let's go to this clip.
We are coming on the air this morning with breaking news from Capitol Hill. Our first look at just how House impeachment managers plan to prosecute their case against Donald Trump, set to file their pretrial brief, and we are now getting a look at it just seconds ago. This is all ahead of next week's historic second Senate trial, and we now have a better sense of what their argument will be. A point-by-point case that Trump is responsible for inciting the deadly insurrection at the Capitol, and that his responsibility for those events is unmistakable. Those managers taking direct aim at what I'm told will be one of the key arguments by the former president's team. That defense team also rushing to meet their own filing deadline today. My new reporting on how they're going to convince senators, or try to acquit Donald Trump again. Good morning. I'm Hallie Jackson in Washington, along with our NBC News team covering this. Garrett Hake on Capitol Hill, Shannon Pettypiece outside the White House. We're also joined by former federal prosecutor and MSNBC legal analyst Paul Butler. Garrett, let me go to you. Lay it out then. What are we seeing now from these House impeachment managers, these House Democrats who are, for the first time really, in writing, laying out their case?
The impeachment managers describe the former president's actions as an impeachable offense of historic proportions. And in their legal brief, or at least the excerpts of it that we've been able to get through so far, they describe a plot by the president to overturn the election results leading up to January 6th. And then they describe the president aiming the mob down Pennsylvania Avenue like a loaded cannon. They also spend a significant amount of time defending the constitutionality of this impeachment effort altogether, essentially a pre-buttal to what they suspect will be the Trump team's primary argument in his defense, that this is somehow outside the scope of what the House and Senate should be doing. The managers will argue that the former president committed this offense while he was still president, he was impeached while he was still president, and that the Constitution gives the Senate the authority to try all impeachments, and that there is, in fact, precedent for trying impeachments of former elected officials. So they start to lay out the evidentiary argument and really spend a significant amount of time and energy focusing on the fact that this is right and proper and indeed a necessary impeachment trial to go forward with here, despite the protestations of the former president and his allies.
Okay, so that is from MSNBC. That's from Hallie Jackson's show on MSNBC. February 2nd, 2021, House impeachment managers file brief for Trump's trial. All right, so we're going to post a link here. You can watch that clip. And okay, Rhonda said, I thought he was supposed to be for law and order. Yeah, this is the most corrupt law and order president I've ever seen. He only wants law and order when it doesn't apply to him, when it applies to other people. He doesn't want law and order when it applies to him. Okay, lastly, I want to go to this other clip here. This is Trump legal team calls on Senate to dismiss impeachment trial. Also, this is from February 2nd as well. This is from Andrea Mitchell's show. Former President Trump's legal team has filed their pretrial brief calling on the Senate to dismiss the article of impeachment and questioning if the proceeding is constitutional. Now, notice, they're not saying, from what I see, they're not saying he didn't. They're not saying he's innocent. Okay, they're saying what he said was covered under free speech. Okay, they're not necessarily saying he didn't riot. From what I see, they're saying, well, what he said is covered under free speech, and this whole proceeding is unconstitutional. He ain't doing anything.
Impeachment trial. Former President Donald Trump has just released his answer. His lawyers have to the articles of his second Senate impeachment trial. Former President Donald Trump has just released his answer. His lawyers have to the articles of impeachment, which were delivered to the Senate. NBC News Chief White House Correspondent Peter Alexander joins us now, and Joyce Vance, former U.S. Attorney from Alabama. Peter, I know you've got it. You just sent me my copy. I've been thumbing through it as I can, but you've been reading through it carefully.
Andrew,
basically, as expected, they are objecting on a constitutional basis, first and foremost.
Yeah, you're exactly right. This is the 14-page document, that pretrial filing that was due at noon today. We've just now received it from the office of the former president, Donald Trump, and it boils down to a couple arguments they're making, calling on members of the Senate to dismiss this case, to acquit him of this impeachment, insurrection, the incitement of an insurrection. It says, among other things, that it should be dismissed as moot and in violation of the Constitution because the Senate, they say in the filing, lacks jurisdiction to remove from office a man who does not hold office. So this breaks down to a couple different things. One, the constitutionality claim, the claim that it's not constitutional for a former president to be impeached since they're no longer in office. Two, on top of that, they say that the president's speech on January 6th, the incitement of insurrection as claimed by the House impeachment managers, was protected by free speech. The president was allowed to say what he said there because it was protected by the First Amendment. And finally, they say that the House article of impeachment is improperly drafted here. So those are the biggest three takeaways in this 14-page document. It follows up on that 80-page pretrial filing that we saw from the Democrats, where they say, among other things, there should be no January exception. In other words, the president should be held accountable for his actions from when he takes office till when he departs from office, suggesting that this taking place on January 6th makes that the case. They make the constitutional argument as well. And they draw a direct line, the Democrat impeachment managers do, between the president and the riot, saying that the president was singularly responsible for the riot that took place that day, Andrea.
All right. So check that out also from MSNBC. Okay, that was from Andrea Mitchell's show. All right. You can email us at AHNshow@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AHNshow@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com for information about the online course that I'm teaching. It's going to start up Monday, February 8th, 2021, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's called Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Trade, What They Didn't Teach You in School. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, What They Didn't Teach You in School. And this is a 8-session, 16-hour online course that I teach. And we deal with thousands of years of history, and we deal with what led up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. And we deal with an overview of the transatlantic slave trade. Also, we deal with the 800-year occupation of Europe by the Africans known as the Moors. We deal with ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, and what the Moors took into Europe that helped bring the Europeans out of the Dark Ages. Okay, and so when we study the transatlantic slave trade, we can't start studying in 1619, or we can't start studying in 1441 when the Portuguese go into Mauritania. We have to deal with hundreds of years, thousands of years of history that lead up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. Okay, so that's what I do in that online course. So we do a PowerPoint presentation. It's 8 sessions. We'll do 8 consecutive Mondays, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Email us at AHNshow@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com for more information. AHNshow@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com for more information. And we do the show live. You can watch from around the world. You can watch it over and over again because the shows are archived also. You can ask questions in class. So it's a visual. I do a PowerPoint presentation. And we have book references, video clips, things like that. And I'm going to also post a link here because we have the information at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, and I'm going to post this link. This is the link. This is to the class that I taught in 2019, but you can register for it and you can go and watch the classes that are already archived, and then we'll automatically enroll you into the new course offering also. So the class is regularly $130 is on sale $80. All right. And you can watch it as many times as you want to. Okay, so that's Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa. Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Also, the 15 DVD bundle pack that has 15 of my lectures, the Black History Month bundle pack. That is on sale right now. It's a 15 DVD bundle, and it has it's on sale $100. Okay, and it has 15 of my lectures, and includes one where I deal with the history of African American History Month, Black History Month. It also has a number of different presentations. It has Black Migration 1619 to 2019, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. So all that's available in the that's the Michael Imhotep Black History Month DVD bundle pack. We're going to post that link here right now. And then we also have the Africans Who Were Here Before Columbus. The Africans Who Were Here Before Columbus DVD bundle pack. Also, it's an 8 DVD bundle pack. And it includes a double lecture I did with Dr. David Imhotep, who wrote the book, The First Americans Were Africans, Documented Evidence. It also includes a double lecture I did with Professor Kaba Hiawatha Kamene. And so the one with Professor Kaba, we deal with the ancient African presence in the Americas. Ancient African presence in the Americas. And then there's also one with Dr. John Henry Clark, and also Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, dealing with They Came Before Columbus. All right, let me see. I'm trying to find this link here. Okay, so that's also available at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, the Africans Who Were Here Before Columbus. All right, so we'll post that information here as well. My second mother really enjoying you, Dr. James Small conversation. Oh, okay. Thanks, Rhonda. Yeah, Professor James Small is one of my teachers, so we always have a good time. We always have some good conversations. I was just thinking about him yesterday and today. I was thinking about Professor Kaba and Professor James Small, and also Dr. Linda Jeffries. I need to call them. I want to get them on the show this month. Okay, so here's the link to the 15 DVD bundle pack, the Michael Imhotep Black History Month bundle pack. All right, so we have that. And let me see something here. So that's on sale, $100. It's a 15 DVD bundle pack. Let's turn on the screen share quickly here. This is right in time for African American History Month. We also have a lot of digital downloads at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. So this also helps us to keep doing the research down there, keep broadcasting as well. Let's see. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah, Michael Imhotep Black History Month 15 DVD bundle pack. So in this bundle, very quickly here, you get my presentation dealing with the film Black Panther. This is almost a 3-hour presentation I did. Black Panther analysis, African culture, history, and Afrofuturism. All right. So you get this, and we'll post these links individually. You can order all these DVDs individually or in the bundle pack. So I did a lot of research on the film Black Panther, the film and the comic book, to be able to do these presentations. And I deal with the African influence. There are 11 different African cultures we see in the film Black Panther. So I deal with all that in here. I deal with what the word Wakanda means. Wakanda is a real word. That's why at the end of the show, I say Wakanda forever. Wakanda is a Sioux Indian word. I'm about to turn this into a history lesson. Wakanda is a Sioux Indian word and Omaha Ponca word in those Native American languages, which means possesses secret powers. Wakanda is also a Bantu word as well. Bantu is a group of 500 African languages spoken in Southern Africa, going into East Africa, also going as west as Cameroon. So Kiswahili is a Bantu language also. The language spoken in the film Black Panther is called isiXhosa. isiXhosa is a Bantu language as well. Okay, I'm trying to, because I'm about to really turn this into a history lesson. So I don't want to do that. Okay, so I have to pull myself back, right? Because I'll just go. All right, so we have that, and then we have let's see here. That's just one of them in the bundle pack. This one here I did in 2018, Breaking the Chains, while we celebrate African American History Month, which goes deep into the history of African American History Month. Dr. Carter G. Woodson, who co-founded the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, September 9th, 1915. And I deal with that whole history in the purpose of African American History Month as well. I deal with some of the annual themes that going back to 1928. There's been an annual theme going back to 1928 for African American History Month also. I also deal with dispelling myths about our history, like was Africa named after Publius Cornelius Scipio Africanus, a Roman general, which it was not. And I take you into language and we deal with what the word Africanus means. I take you to Cassell's Latin English Dictionary 2002 edition, because Africanus means belonging to Africa or of Africa. And we deal with that whole history. We deal with was the Black John Hanson president? And he was not. Okay, there were two John Hansons. The Black John Hanson was a senator to Liberia. And the picture, the photograph you see of him is circa 1836. I'm sorry, circa 1852. Circa 1852 is at the Library of Congress website. It's on the Library of Congress website. I've gone there and seen it. And he was a senator to Liberia. Okay. The photograph was taken with a daguerreotype camera. That's the type of camera that took the picture. The daguerreotype. The daguerreotype was invented by John Daguerreotype, and that's invented in the late 1820s, around 1826 or so. It's available for commercial usage in the 1830s. Okay. The white John Hanson, who was a senator to Maryland, he was the senator who was president of the Continental Congress from 1781 to 1782, and he dies in 1783. So I do a whole presentation dealing with this, breaking down and showing historical checkpoints and showing, one, there were two John Hansons, two, why the Black John Hanson was not president of the Continental Congress, or what people will call the United States. This is before the Constitution was drafted in 1787. Okay, how do you have a photograph of a man taken with a camera that was invented about 40 or 50 years after he died? Nobody wants to answer that question. There were two John Hansons. Okay, so that's another presentation. Then you get, we're going to make this real quick. Malcolm X, 50 years later, why is he still relevant? The distortion of the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the revolutionary, would not be televised on the television. So I deal with the revolutionary Dr. King. The Dr. King they don't show you on the television, especially every Dr. King Day. You get, in all these, you can order individually as well if you want to. So you get a big discount in the bundle. Then this is another one I did on dealing with Black Panther. This is lessons from the film Black Panther. Economic guerrilla warfare, political self-defense, and how to Wakanda to vote. How do we take the enthusiasm from the film Black Panther and the enthusiasm and the pride that we feel and things like this? How do we take that from the film and use that for economic empowerment and political empowerment? Okay, that's what I break down in this presentation here. This is Lessons from the film Black Panther, economic guerrilla warfare, political self-defense, and how to Wakanda the vote. And I tie it into history also. So we have that one. And then we have this presentation here. This deals with the history of the Three-Fifths Compromise of 1787, which a lot of people misunderstand and think that it said that we were 3/5 of a human being, which is not what it's saying. That's Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3 of the U.S. Constitution, which talks about for the purpose of taxation and representation, that 3/5 of the population enslaved would be counted for that purpose of taxation and representation. At the same time, the full population of free African people or free African Americans in this country was counted. Okay? It's not saying we were 3/5 of a man or 3/5 of a human being. It's determining, how do you determine how many seats in the House of Representatives slaveholding states are going to have if it's based upon population? How do we count the population enslaved? Do we count the full population? Do we count half the population? Because they're debating this at the Philadelphia Convention, at the Constitutional Convention. They're debating this. Northern states are saying we don't want the full population counted. Southern states say we want the full population counted. Northern states are saying if you count the full population, that's going to give you total dominance in the House of Representatives. So they decided to count 3/5 of the population. They're not saying this is 3/5 of a person. They're saying if the state, hypothetically, the state of Virginia has 100,000 enslaved Africans, okay, for the purpose of representation, determining how many seats in the House of Representatives the state of Virginia has, we're not going to count all 100,000. Okay, we're going to count 60,000 for the purpose of representation and taxation. It's not saying this person here, he's 3/5 of a man. That's not what they're saying. No, because some of them didn't want to recognize them as human beings in the first place. But the second thing is, Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3 of the U.S. Constitution was corrected by Section 2 of the 14th Amendment. So when you read the Constitution, usually there's an asterisk there in reference to Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3, which is known as the Three-Fifths Compromise, and it says see Section 2 of the 14th Amendment, because the count was corrected with Section 2 of the 14th Amendment. So we have that, and then I also deal with the history of the Electoral College in that one because they're tied together. That deals with the history of the Electoral College as well. 13 Forms of Wealth. So I used to teach entrepreneurship for a long time, for about 7 years. I taught entrepreneurship in my degrees in business administration. So the 13 Forms of Wealth and Redistributing the Pain, Keys to Economic Empowerment and Entrepreneurship for African Americans. This is a really good one for those that want to be entrepreneurs. Okay, then we have, what's this other one here? Oh, the racist history of the white national anthem and the Pledge of Allegiance. This deals with the whole history of the Pledge of Allegiance. Francis Scott Key, who you see here, Francis Scott Key, who wrote it during the War of 1812, September 13th, 1814, during the War of 1812. He was a white supremacist slave owner who thought that African people were mentally inferior. So I deal with the whole history of the national anthem, which I call the white national anthem, because it was written by white people, for white people, about white people largely. And it was voted on by white people in the House of Representatives, U.S. Senate also. And then I tie this into Colin Kaepernick's protest and what his whole protest is about. So I deal with the history of Colin Kaepernick's protest. So you get this one here. That's about a 3 hour. How long is that one? It's about 3 hours. It's about a 3 hour presentation. So, okay, you get that one. And then this one here. This is a double lecture I did with Dr. David Imhotep, who wrote the book, The First Americans Were Africans, Documented Evidence. We did this back in 2013 here in Detroit. So you get this double lecture as well. That's also in the bundle pack, The Africans Who Were Here Before Columbus. All right, are we back? What happened? Okay, we should still be here. I think I hit the wrong button or something. It was trying to exit out. But in redistributing the pain, it deals with documented examples of different types of economic withdrawal strategies we have had throughout history. Okay, redistributing the pain. And I show you what the results were. Because a lot of times people talk about economic boycotts and things like this, but don't exactly talk about successes we've had with that. They talk about the Montgomery bus boycott, but really don't understand the Montgomery bus boycott because I don't know if you saw this picture before, but that's myself and Dr. Claude Anderson. I was at a lecture that he did, and I've interviewed him a number of times. You can see that on our YouTube channel, Blog Talk Radio. You can just Google his name and my name. I brought that in 2016 when I used to guest host Roland Martin's nationally syndicated radio show. I brought out Claude Anderson on Roland Martin's nationally syndicated radio show. Now, people who've been following me for a long time know this. Other people don't know this, but there's a lot I've done. I just don't talk about. So the Montgomery bus boycott, that's not what ended segregation on the buses. It was the lawsuit of Browder versus Gale filed February 1st, 1956. That's what actually ended segregation on the buses. The Montgomery bus boycott was necessary because it put pressure on them. Okay. But that's not what ended segregation on the buses. But the redistributing the pain, that shows different types of economic withdrawal strategies that we have had from over decades. Okay, and it shows the successes of the economic withdrawal strategies also. Let me post this here. All right. So then we have this presentation, The Light of Ancient Egypt Awakens the African Mind to Economic Empowerment. The Light of Ancient Egypt Awakens the African Mind to Economic Empowerment. It's from February 25th, 2017. I did this up in Lansing, Michigan. Okay. And in this presentation, we discuss examples of economic empowerment, the Black Bank movement, as well as a brief history of African American History Month. So this is where, and we tie all this into ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt as well. So this is a really good presentation. This one here deals with something that a lot of people have been talking about lately, but very few people actually understand. The Tuskegee experiment of untreated syphilis on the Negro male. So I deal with the whole history of the Tuskegee experiment. Contrary to popular belief and social media memes that you see floating around, the Tuskegee experiment did not inject men with syphilis or black men with syphilis. That's not what happened. What happened is it started in about 1932. 1933. It was supposed to last 6 to 9 months. It ended up lasting 40 years. Goes up until about 1972, 73. And what it did was it monitored men who already had syphilis. So there were 600 men in the Tuskegee experiment, the Tuskegee experiment of untreated syphilis. Of the Negro male. There were 600 men in the study. Okay, 399 men had an early form of syphilis called latent syphilis, L-A-T-E-N-T, latent syphilis, which means you have syphilis, but you don't have symptoms. 201 men in the study did not have syphilis. They were the control group. The control group is who you compare to the group that has the stimulus injected into them, or has the stimulus or are subjected to the stimulus. So all the men in the study didn't have syphilis. I'm not saying the study was good. I'm saying a lot of people misunderstand what the study was. They did not inject the men with syphilis. That's urban legend. That's why when you see these memes on social media, lines saying they injected the black man with syphilis, that's why they don't cite any sources, because they don't have any. That's not what happened. So I break down the study, and I break down how the study became exposed and why it ended, because it was exposed in the media. Then I deal with a lawsuit that was filed by attorney Fred Gray in about 73, 74, something like that. And attorney Fred Gray was the same attorney who filed the lawsuit of Browder versus Gale, February 1st, 1956, which went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, which ended the Montgomery bus boycott. That's the same attorney. So I deal with all that in this presentation here and provide sources for you. Unlike the social media memes you see floating around, lines saying that the Tuskegee syphilis experiment injected black men with syphilis. Come on. You might as well say Willie Lynch historically existed then if you want to say stuff like that, because that's false also. But anyway, so we have this one here as well. These are all lectures I've done. Then this one here, Great African Women in History, the Mothers of Civilization. This is actually, you're going to get the version that's like about 4 hours. That's a 2 DVD set. It's actually about 4 hours. Great African Women in History, the Mothers of Civilization. So I deal with some well-known and not so well-known African women history from all different time periods. Okay. Now, what was the question you were asking in the bundle? What was the question you were asking? All these are in this bundle pack. I'm showing you the individual ones. It's the Michael Imhotep Black History Month DVD bundle. It's a 15 DVD bundle pack. We'll post the link again here. This is at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can order right now. We have these shipping out this week. So we'll post the link again. So all these DVDs I'm showing you, they're in this 15 DVD bundle pack. You can order them in the bundle, or you can order them individually. Okay. And why is this showing up as, it should show up as the African History Network, but I just posted this here. I just posted the link. Okay. So this is another one. This is Great African Women in History, the Mothers of Civilization. And we deal with some well-known and not so well-known African women in our history from all different time periods. Henrietta Lacks, Madam C.J. Walker, Annie Turnbull Malone, who was the mentor to Madam C.J. Walker, Osset, who the Greeks called Isis, Dr. Patricia Bath, Queen Charlotte Sophia, Yaa Asante Wa Ma'at, Queen Nzinga's, a lot of them I deal with here. Okay. When did I do this? Was this the one? 27th, I think there's one in Detroit. But it's a 2 DVD set that you get. It's actually about 4 hours instead of 2.5 hours. Then you get this one. So this is one I did for children dealing with the film Black Panther. Okay. And in this presentation, we did this at the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History here in Detroit. I was presenting to children, 5th through 12th graders. I was presenting to 5th through 12th graders and 65th through 12th graders and their teachers. I was presenting to about 65th through 12th graders and their teachers. So what I'm doing here, I'm doing a PowerPoint presentation, and I'm going through different themes from the film Black Panther and showing how this relates to African history and African culture. And I'm showing the teachers how they can use these different themes to teach African history, real African history. And we talk about, for instance, in the Hong Kong scene, the color scheme of the outfits of T'Challa, Lupita Nyong'o's character, and then General Okoye, is red, black, and green. T'Challa's wearing black. Lupita Nyong'o, she's wearing green, and General Okoye is wearing red. And that is symbolizing the Pan-African flag. That's not me saying it. That's director Ryan Coogler saying it. He put that into the film. So then I deal with the history of the Pan-African flag introduced at the International Convention of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, August 13th, 1920. And then we deal with some of the history of the flag and Marcus Garvey and things like this. Because some of the students didn't know who Marcus Garvey was. And so we talk about African history and culture and the 11 different African cultures that are represented in the film Black Panther, and the research that Ruth Carter, the costume designer, did studying 11 different African cultures, all that. So we deal with all that here. We deal with the Wakanda salute, where the Wakanda salute comes from. That comes straight out of ancient Kemet. It's always right over left because that's the position of the Nasubitis, the pharaohs, the Nasubitis. It's a symbol of power, and we show you that symbol around the world. So I deal with that. So it's designed for children. Adults can learn, but it's showing the teachers how they can use different elements from the film Black Panther, and that enthusiasm that our children have for the film, how they can use that to teach African history. Okay, so we have that, and then we have this one here. Oh, this is one of my favorite ones here. A lot of people don't like this one because of the title or who it's about. But if we knew this information in 2016, he would never become president. This one right here, this is one of my favorite presentations here. Oh my God, African-American resistance in the era of Donald Trump. Voter suppression, reparations, and high level. In 68, who ran on the backlash to the civil rights movement and on the platform of law and order. And law and order means protect white people and lock up black people. We got to get the hell out of here. But anyway, so you have all that, and then Donald Trump running in 2016, who's a backlash to 2 terms of President Barack Obama, backlash to the Black Lives Matter movement, all of that, right? So, and then I deal with the voter suppression that took place in the 2016 campaign and some other things as well. So that one right there, you get that. So I deal with the rampant voter suppression, how there were 868 fewer polling places in 2016, how that ties into the 2013 U.S. Supreme Court case of Shelby County versus Holder. Okay, Shelby County versus Holder, U.S. Supreme Court case. All that's tied together. So we have that presentation. And then we have, lastly, but definitely not least, Ancient Kemet, the Winter Solstice, and the History of Christmas. Oh, this is a 3-hour presentation that I've done dealing with the history of Christmas. The Mass of Christ, the Ka rest, Ka meaning spirit, rest meaning to rise. All this ties into ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt. We deal with the pre-Christian origins of the celebration of Christmas. What I say may go outside the circumference of some people's awareness. Just because you never heard it before, disagree with it, or don't like it, does not mean it's not true. Just means you have to do some research to understand what I'm talking about. I got that from one of my teachers, Dr. Ray Higgins. Dr. Ray Higgins sent me a message today also. I need to bring him back on the show. It's been a few years since I've interviewed him. But this may be outside the circumference of some people's awareness, but nowhere in the biblical text does it mention the celebration of Christmas. But we deal with the ancient, we deal with the pre-Christian festivals that Christmas is based upon. the festival of Saturnalia coming from ancient Rome. Europeans, you have ancient winter festivals like the festival of Saturnalia, the festival of Mithra, the festival of Yule. Most of these festivals took place around the winter solstice, around December 21st, or the vernal equinox, March 21st. Vernal equinox marks the first day of spring. The word vernal is Latin, which means spring. Equinox comes from aquanatium, which means equal nights. The vernal equinox is the day where you have the same amount of daylight as sunlight. We deal with the influence from various cultures, mythology, religion, literature, and astronomy. All this ties into astronomy. So we take you back in history and deal with how did the celebration of Christmas come into existence. We deal with we deal with the creation of Santa Claus coming from the mythological character of Sinterklaas coming from the Dutch. Okay, Sinterklaas is Dutch, which means Saint Nicholas. And who was Saint Nicholas? Saint Nicholas was a real saint who was actually an African. And when you look at a lot of your early African saints, when you look at a lot of your early Christian saints, many of them were Africans. Okay, so we deal with that whole history. So this is a deep presentation. Ancient Kemet, the winter solstice, and the history of Christmas. And we deal with Asar, Aset, and Heru, who the Greeks called Osiris, Isis, and Horus, and the first Holy Trinity, and Heru or Horus being born of a virgin birth on December 25th. That what I say may go outside the circumference of some people's awareness. Just because you never heard it before, disagree with it, or don't like it, does not mean it's not true. This means you have to do some research to understand what I'm talking about. And we're dealing with the retelling of these different stories over and over and over again, adapted to other people's cultures over thousands of years. So I reference things like you read Christianity Before Christ by Dr. John G. Jackson. You read The World's 16 Crucified Saviors by Kersey Graves. Okay. All of this is tied together. You read Nile Valley Contributions to Civilization by Tony Browder. Okay. My man Browder. I sent him a message. I got to follow up with Browder. I want to get him back on the show. Nile Valley Contributions to Civilization by Tony Browder. You read Egypt on the Potomac by Tony Browder. Okay. All this history is tied together. That takes you into the history of Christmas, the Ka rest, or Christmas, and understanding the Ka rest in Christ, and Christ being a title, not a name. When you read the where is it? I got all these books here. Christianity Before Christ by Dr. John G. Jackson. You can read Christianity Before Christ by Dr. John G. Jackson. Excellent, excellent book that deals with this ancient history. Okay. You can read Blacks in Religion, Volume 1 by Robin Walker, brilliant historian. Blacks in Religion, Volume 1. Okay. All this ties into history, mythology, astronomy, and you see the interchanging of mythologies and beliefs from various cultures, okay, and how they get interwoven. So we have that as well. Ancient Kemet, the winter solstice, and the history of Christmas. So that is a 15 DVD bundle pack. It is the Michael Imhotep Black History Month 15 DVD bundle pack. Your Black History Month will never be the same again. You watch this stuff here, your Black History Month ain't gonna be the same again. The African American History Month, oh no, it's not gonna be the same again. You're not gonna deal with the same 15 to 20 sanitized Negroes that we talk about every year. I'm telling you right now, okay? It's gonna be different. You watch this stuff here, you're not gonna look at African American History Month the same. They want to do presentations talk about runaway slaves, stuff like that. You're gonna say, hold on, wait a second. Our history is much deeper than that. You know, we can't just deal with runaway slaves and things like that. That history is important. That history is, but it's like, come on, you can't start our history there now. Let's be reasonable, okay? All right. So let's see here. I'm trying to see why is it. It should. Post it as restream. Okay, but we posted the link here. There we go. Yeah, we posted the link here once again for the 15 DVD bundle pack, so you can order it now. And then my online course, which is going to be start up Monday, February 8th, 2021, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because I got to be on the air at 11. 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We may end a little early. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Okay, you can register for that also at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, and we'll post a link here again. And that is a 16-hour, it's an 8-week online course. We meet 8 consecutive Mondays. It's about 16 hours. We do it live. All the sessions are archived. You can go back and watch it over and over again. And you can watch from around the world. We deal with thousands of years of history. So you can register for that also. It's regularly $130 is on sale. Let me change the date here. It's regularly $130 is on sale, $80. And when you register, there's some bonus content that you can go ahead and start watching. We reference books. You don't have to buy the books to follow along in the class, though. But we reference books. And we reference articles. There's about 50 articles. It's about 50 articles that we that I reference as well. And it may be more by the time the class starts. It's 50 that I have identified now. But as things happen and archaeological discoveries happen, etc., it may be more. Okay, so let me post this here again so you can register for the online course. So it'll be Monday, February 8th. It starts Monday, February 8th. Okay. So it starts Monday, February 8th, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. We just posted that as well. And it's at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. All right. And we have a lot of my lectures and bundle packs on digital download also at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. All right. Look, hey, we have to get out of here. Thanks for tuning in. Follow us on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP. Turn on notifications so you know when we go live, because everybody doesn't get our notifications for some reason. It's something I'm fighting. Everybody does not get our notifications. Turn on notifications so you know when we go live. And we broadcast live Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time. I do my radio show on 9:10 a.m. to Superstation WFDF, and we broadcast here as well. And then Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're on 9:10 a.m. to Superstation WFDF. We broadcast here also. Download the iHeartRadio app. Download the iHeartRadio app. Search for the African History Network show on iHeartRadio. You can listen to the audio podcasts of our shows. We're on 9 different audio podcast platforms. Okay. 9 different audio podcast platforms. And you can listen there. We're on Stitcher, iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, FM Player. Also, if you want to advertise with the African History Network, email us at customerservice@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, because your ads will play when we rebroadcast these shows on our social media platforms, and they'll also play in the audio podcasts of our shows as well. Okay. So email us at customerservice@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com if you want to advertise with the African History Network. And we'll post this information here also. Okay. Now, current promotion, buy 1 month, get 1 month free. And then once again, if you want information about our online course, email us at TheAHNShow at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. TheAHNShow at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com regarding the online course. Okay, look, hey, we have to get out of here. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right knowledge corrects wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you next time. Peace.
Soul Natural Beauty Products offers organic, plant-based skin and hair care products that will rejuvenate skin and naturally grow and thicken hair. Their whipped shea butter can heal or restore damaged skin cells to prevent hyperpigmentation and skin breakouts. All products are made with organic plant-based ingredients. Their maximum hair growth oil is fortified with organic herbal extracts and undeniably proves that Mother Nature knows best. It thickens, lengthens, softens, and conditions all types of hair. They even guarantee hair improvement within 90 days or a full refund. Their all-natural 24-hour deodorant leaves the body smelling fresh without sweating for up to 24 hours. It does not stain fabric, goes on smoothly, and has a refreshing lavender and frankincense aroma. It can be used by men, women, and even children. Place your order today at soulnaturalbeautyproducts.com. That's soulnaturalbeautyproducts.com, and follow them on Facebook at Soul Natural Beauty Products.
Do you have an idea or business that requires app development or thinking of moving your IT resources to the cloud? We have post-paid and profit-sharing plans for unique ideas or profitable businesses. Who can take advantage of this unique program? Entrepreneurs with unique ideas, startups, small to medium businesses. Contact us 267-209-0352.
Visit nomadicsystems.net, nomadicsystems.net today. Gain knowledge in minutes with Blacklist Ed. Blacklist Ed is an app that provides insightful summaries of books pertaining to the Black experience. As Black people, we know the importance of reading books to discover our incredible contributions to world history, to uplift our self-esteem, and to empower ourselves for our relentless fight for social justice. Unfortunately, with our busy lives, it feels like there is never enough time to read a book. Fortunately, there's a solution. With Blacklist Ed, their app provides key insights from best-selling books about the Black experience, therefore saving you time, increasing your knowledge, and empowering yourself through inspirational and actionable ideas. You can read or listen on the go. Start your free trial today by going to blacklisted.com. That's Black without the C, B-L-A-K. Or you can download the Blacklist Ed app from the App Store or Google Play. Blacklist Ed, empower yourself. Tasted the world-famous No Frowny Brownie yet from the Pink Bakery? If not, what do you wait for? They are vegan, gluten-free, and of the big 8 allergens. While eating their No Frowny Brownies, the fabulous Miss Tabitha Brown said, "They were very good. Very good." And you know, if she says that, they are. The bakery is the first Black-owned, Big 8 allergen-free baking mix company. Go to thepinkbakery.com, that's thepinkbakery.com, to order their No Frowny Brownie Mix today. Yaya Rule is a line of African print-inspired apparel catered to the Black community. The pieces include t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, jackets, dresses, skirts, activewear, bags, and other accessories and home decor. This brand